Well, we've reached the halfway point of the afternoon's entertainment here on Stage 2. Reds Bar in Minehead for the Players' Championship Finals. Seen a win for Scott Mitchell despite surviving 6 match darts from Martijn Kleermaker. Ryan Joyce came through against Luke Woodhouse, but he had to survive a bit of a scare as well. Martin Schindler, very impressive in beating Ian White, a former semi-finalist at this tournament. And Darius Labanauskas, the #1 from Lithuania, the first lower-seeded player to win on this stage, beating last year's runner-up Mervyn King by 6 legs to 4 with an average just shy of 100. Now, it is a debut we get to see, not of Brendan Dolan. We've seen him many, many times before, although you could argue that we haven't seen him here playing as well as he is nowadays. But Chaz Barstow, our first chance to see him at the Players' Championship Finals. He is quite a story. He's qualified for this as a non-tour card holder, and when we've seen him in action in the PDC, he's been very, very impressive. Looks like he's got something, but the man sat next to me, Paul Nicholson, knows more about him than most. You've watched him play an awful lot of darts over the last 12 months or so, haven't you?
You can say that again. I just think he's a great talent.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. First leg, it's Chaz to throw first. Game on.
He is the epitome for me of the best kept secret in his county. Every county's got one, but this year we have found Chaz Barstow.
83.
He's exciting, he's unpredictable, and sometimes he goes for finishes his own way. He's a great watch. And make no mistake, Brendan Dolan will know
60.
enough about Chaz to realise that this is not an easy game.
Well, he will do, because they've already played once this year and Chaz won it. So Brendan will be well aware, and he might be becoming increasingly aware. Certainly will do if that carries on.
He is definitely looking forward to his Ali Pali debut. But he's got a job on. If he wants to get himself a tour card before Q School, you know for a fact that Chaz is going to go to Q School if he doesn't manage to get in the top 64
60
from his efforts in 2021, but boy would it be so much better going into 2022 knowing that he can do it next year without having to wait for phone calls.
Well, it's an interesting one. You know, Chaz Barstow
100.
evidently playing with freedom. I know there's quite an interesting debate going on in the snooker at the minute, where a couple of the amateurs have won at the UK Championship, and some of the pros, some of the big name pros, world champions in fact, Sean Murphy and Neil Robertson, going out to them and have taken umbrage. So, well, they shouldn't really be here. They're not on the tour. They haven't earned their spot on the tour. But it's been a fixture in darts for quite some time that players can come up and make up the numbers. We need to get them to the 128-man field for our Pro Tour events. As Barstow looks at tops for a 135. Oh, that would have been some start. We'll pick up that point in a moment as Brendan looks at a 101.
Brendan's game is all about leaving double 16. But he's not going to do that here. In fact, he's not going to get a shot at any double.
41.
So Chaz,
40.
tops it is.
Yeah, on the first leg.
He is deadly when he's in the right mood. I've seen him play some pretty ordinary stuff this year online and in another tournament, but at times he has been destructive. When he's playing well, he's like a bulldozer trying to get rid of a tent.
Yeah, well, just have a look at how he's performed over the year. He's averaging more than 91 over the course of 54 matches on the Pro Tour. And he started this like an absolute train. But that is respectable. It's not blowing anybody away, but would you expect him to be blowing anybody away? He's only just starting out in his darts career at this sort of level.
Yeah, he's been playing a lot of stuff in Hampshire for a few years. But obviously,
140.
with those bulbous, heavy, old-school arrows that he throws, he's found something in the way of confidence since Q School. He was, of course, the first person outside of the cards in the points list. And he was the person who lost out because of that heroic stuff from Danny Baggish. Now, he has played a ridiculous amount of darts this year because he was the first person outside.
46.
Some of the players couldn't use their cards, the likes of Robert Marjanovic and some others. So he's been the one who has taken advantage of all of those phone calls. He's he's been receiving from the tournament director.
Oh, this is good for Dolan.
140.
Barstow looks again at this 135. Could he get any dart at tops? No, it'd be the bull if he gets one at all. Oh, I thought it was in for a moment.
I think that ball was going if he got the 60.
And then you require
Such a
64.
snug little guide.
Well, Brendan may only get one dart at double himself. It is only going to be one. Yeah, really nicely done from Brendan Dolan, who is one of the best examples you could possibly give to any pro who's been on the circuit for a while and has started to slip down the rankings. Things haven't gone right for them. You start missing out on the TV tournaments at which you were a regular. You're not winning the titles that you were doing. And this could go on for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years in Brendan Dolan's case. And he has rebuilt. He has come back, arguably even stronger than before. And is now a guy who is winning titles and looking dangerous and may be about to do something special on a big TV stage over the next few months.
Do you know what he attributes it to? I spoke to him in Gibraltar at length about this.
137.
At home, he had a dartboard up on the wall, and there was something in the way every time he was retrieving the darts, and it was just
59.
the fact that the dartboard was a picture. It was there, it was used, it wasn't really that important. And then his wife Teresa said, "What is that thing under the dartboard? Get rid of it, turn this into your office, turn this into the place where you really hone your skills." And now he's putting in the work in a dedicated place that is for that dartboard. It's not just something on the wall.
I think we were talking to him, Gibraltar, wasn't he? He was saying that he's trying to figure out what he's supposed to do here, Brendan. But he was saying that a lot of the time, you know, there'd be people coming in and out the house, and he wasn't sure, you know, it'd be an easy distraction. Everybody turns up, they want to have a chat, then Brendan's going to sit there and chat to them. Now he'll lock himself away.
108.
And he forces himself to do the graft and make sure he's on that practice board and readying his skills for top level action. Not going to take the 131, and that 180 from Barstow coming at a crucial point in this match.
99.
In every leg so far.
Just requires 67.
This is big, because Dolan is finding his way.
27.
Really got to deny
require
Dolan
32.
shots like this, because he's not going to miss this. This is for the first break in this match. That's not in the way. It definitely wasn't. And Barstow, after playing well so far, just not well enough.
Game on.
Yeah, it's another game where they're both up there in the very high 90s or around about that 100 average. We've been blessed with some really good stuff in the last sort of hour on this board.
140.
Let's face it, Dan, this is the best time of year, isn't it, to be a darts fan or someone who works in the industry, because you've got the Players' Championship finals, you've got the last chance qualifier for the Worlds on Monday, the World Youth Championship on Sunday, and that draw on Monday, can't wait for that. But I am praying that we get Clemens versus Schindler. I want to see that game on that stage.
Yeah, I mean, there's some mouth-watering matchups that are going to be set up at Ali Pali. And I know everybody's sort of they've got one eye on Ali Pali because it is the biggest tournament in the world. And one of the, I find it a bit frustrating because you can, even at the Grand Slam, you know, a week-long tournament, and then people are going, oh, what's this mean for the Worlds? What's this mean? We've still got, you know, the Grand Slam itself is an enormous thing, a life-changing thing. You know, look what the first win at the Grand Slam did for Gerwyn Price. Turned him into arguably the best player in the world over the subsequent couple of years.
How many times does Gerwyn Price have to win at the Aldersley Leisure Village before they have to name it after him?
I mean, I assume the way he's going, he might buy the place. He bought most of the buildings around where he lives in Markham in Wales. Brendan isn't going to take the 161, but he will look to set this up. He could go bull.
99.
Yeah, I know you gamble, you might come back with 3 darts in your hand at the double, and Chaz is some way back. He should use the bull here, potentially. Oh, well, okay. Fair enough. That's another option.
The
good thing about 62, Dan, is that it leaves double 16 at the end, or if you get the treble, whereas he got the 25, he's definitely going the tops route. This is his favourite double. He doesn't like that lie. He's going to have to go over the top of the flight and hit this double 8 in the top 25%. Ooh, but that's a surgical shot. I don't think that was the portion he was going for, but it has found the mark.
Well, double 16 twice and double 8. It's looking pretty good for Brendan Dolan in that section of the board, and as Paul said, that is where he does so much of his business. And that's a fair point, actually. Making the point that maybe he could have used the bullseye to guarantee 2 darts at a double, but if you're so keen to use double 16, then yeah, I can understand the tactics, the theory behind that.
137.
Wearing a slightly different shirt today as well, Brendan Dolan. He's someone who likes to change the design up now and again. He's got a sort of minty green shamrock one here with a bit of the Dwayne Johnson tattooery on it.
Yeah, Chaz Barstow hasn't quite formed the identity yet, has he? He's not quite got the shtick. He's not got a nickname yet, has he? I don't think.
The Prince.
The Prince?
Yeah, I believe there's a friend of his who was tweeting me on many occasions when Chaz has played, and a lot of his mates call him the Prince.
80.
Any idea why?
Not a clue.
Not at all. Right, okay.
But he subscribes to the whole Andy Jenkins philosophy of dart shirtery. I'll have the blue one.
Yeah. Well, Brendan, his darts do kick over to the left quite a bit, although they're kicking over an awful long way today, and I'm not sure what that's about.
Might be a sign of cold hands. When the temperature is a little bit lower, your hands don't flex out as easily, so they might not be flying through the air as pure.
It's just one little finger stays on there, or thumb stays on there a little bit longer, a microsecond longer, and it just kinks it as it leaves his hand. Oh, well, he was looking for the 18 segment again there to leave 62. The ball. And he will come back.
Check that score, 72.
Well, that's a collector's item.
86.
Because Kirk Bevins never gets numbers wrong. Ever. Quickly rectified, though.
61.
As Barstow, frustration.
32.
That's because he knows you can't leave Brendan on 32. That is a dream guide. Doesn't move, doesn't have to. Look at that. And it kicks a field goal. Does the history maker. I love some of these reactions from the dart players. It's good. It's very good.
It is very good, and again doing his work down in that bottom left corner of the board. Brendan Dolan looking deadly right there. The winner of this faces either Richie Edhouse or Dave Chisnell. But Chizzy, I know that, you know, 5-time major finalist. Again, a bit like Ian White, not really been tearing up the Pro Tour as you expect him to be doing this year. He comes into this as the number 24 seed, whereas Brendan's the number 9 here. That's a reflection of how consistently he's been performing on the circuit this year. The seedings don't lie over the course of 30 events. They're a good reflection, or the best reflection, you could argue, of how well players are played. Better than, you know, the averages list, which we do make a lot of use of. However, there are going to be fluctuations in form. You know, I think Brendan was perhaps playing his best stuff perhaps over the summer. He's still been good at the back end of the year, maybe not quite as good as he was earlier on in 2021. Well, maybe you could say the same for Chaz, to be honest. It was the start of the year where he was really turning heads.
I think that's very fair to say. And let's not forget, Dan, this is a debut at Minehead for Chaz.
435.
He didn't play.
Well, big stage darts is, you know, a complete novelty to him. I remember when I was speaking to him about the European Tour when we were in Coventry, and he was, you know, playing some really good stuff on the Pro Tour earlier this year. And he just didn't really know how the European Tour, he didn't know how the qualifiers worked, he didn't know what they had to do.
He got the same guide as Boris Krutchmer, as Barstow goes the right way for 133 when your opponent's on a finish.
The treble, double on the same segment. We'll figure this out over the course of the weekend.
Call it the Trivial Pursuit because it's all on the same wedge.
Ooh. Like it.
All 110.
Again, he's on that double 16. Barstow has been warned. Do not let him have a go at it, so he doesn't, and gets the leg. 4-2, and that is a breaker throw, and there's a little smile from Barstow there.
What pressure's on Chaz in this game? Like you say, he's playing the 9th seed. Everybody expects Brendan Dolan to win, and this year, Chaz Barstow hasn't really been playing on the PDC circuit with pressure. He can enjoy this.
Well, that's the argument that the likes of Sean Murphy were making in the snooker, wasn't it? These amateurs are coming in, and what's it to them? They're not playing for their careers and their livelihoods, and they're going up against people who are trying to stay on the tour or trying to defend money or their ranking or whatever, or are desperate to get into big TV tournaments. These guys are on a free roll. They're just turning up, playing a game they love, and let's see what happens, and playing with freedom. Now, I understand that. At the same time, if you're Brendan Dolan or any top player, do you want to be playing a guy who hasn't got a tour card and hasn't got the experience and finds all of this a complete, weird new thing for them? Or do you want to be playing Ian White, who knows all about it and has made semi-finals, or Mervyn King, who was a finalist last year? I think I'd rather take the guy who hasn't got the experience, but you can see it both ways.
It's a great experiment, and we've got exactly the right time to find out, Dan, because not only in this game do we have a seasoned pro against a person without a tour card, but in the next 2 games we have exactly the same. We've got Ross Smith, a winner this year, up against Rusty J. Rodriguez, who hasn't got a card, and we've got Danny Knopp at the 22nd seed, who has also been a winner, but not this year, up against Roby John Rodriguez without a card. So that is about to be tested.
Yeah, the real danger of the likes of Roby John and indeed Rusty, who, they're playing with the freedom of not having a card or anything like that, but they also have experience of big stage darts. They do know what this is about. Chaz Barstow with his 4th 180 of this game leaves himself 82, and all of a sudden Brendan Dolan, who is 4-1 up and cruising, he may just be getting a little nervy. He's going to go bull here when he shouldn't. Yeah, it's always the same with Brendan. 82 with 2 darts, and he'll go bull to leave that double 16. Treble 14, bigger target, bigger chance of leaving yourself a dart at double.
2 double tops. No doubt in my mind. As soon as you hit the 2, you've got to go double-double. And Dolan has dodged one there.
He has. Well, he's ended up leaving tops anyway by going that bull route for the 82. And he pins it. There's Brendan Dolan. It's not just double 16 he can hit. He breaks back immediately, and all of a sudden there'll be a little sigh of relief from Brendan Dolan as the Northern Irishman finds himself with the darts in his hand, throwing for a 6-2 victory against a very dangerous opponent.
Is there a little hint of MVG green in this shirt?
100.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit there. I mean, that would be an absolute baller move, wouldn't it? If somebody just turns up at a big TV tournament and is wearing the MVG shirt and just puts your own name on the back.
Do you not remember that European Tour event where Peter Wright wore his closest palette colour to MVG's green just to make him a bit angry?
Well, he always wears orange when he plays in the Netherlands, doesn't he? We've seen him do that just to see if he can garner a little bit more support. He's not daft, Peter.
No, he's not. And when he beat him at the match play, he wore the exact same purple shirt.
He doesn't even like purple. He just plays well in it.
Exactly.
Apparently he hates purple, but he won his World Championship wearing that one. And he wore it when he averaged 110 in the match play semi-finals. And do you think that Peter Snakebite Wright this weekend is all of a sudden back in form? He wasn't very good in the final of the Grand Slam, but the quarterfinals and the semis, he was very, very good after a lacklustre opening few games in Wolverhampton. Has it convinced you that Snakebite is a real contender for the title?
If he's using those gold darts with the traditional nose on them, I would say yes. Because when he was using those against Fallon Sherrick, he was incredible. Dolan is very close to victory to bring us back to the highest seeded player winning, because Lavanauskas winning against King in the previous one saw a bucking of the trend. The favourite in this game, Dolan, 141 away, now only 81. He's going to need double 16 again.
89.
Because he'll go for the single 20.
139.
Leave that double 16 now that he's given the shot.
Well, so good has Brendan been on double 16 and double 8.
89.
You would think this is
Brendan,
just
you
going to go.
require 52.
Whether it be first or second dart, looks like 6-2. And 6-2 it is. Brendan Dolan with a finishing clinic to dispatch Chaz Barstow. A very impressive performance from the history maker. Not too bad from Chaz, who pinged 4 180s in that match, but it is valuable experience and a few quid in his pocket as well. However, a first round exit for Barstow on his debut. Brendan Dolan, the number 9 seed, goes through to face either Richie Edhouse or Dave Chisnell in the second round here in Minehead.